Hello, you're watching Bantams SmallTalk. Sponsored by Peckover Transport, we give you results, not excuses.
So here we are with yet another edition of Bantams Small Talk here at Valley Parade. First of all, a quick shout out to my sponsors, Peckover Transport. We give you results and not excuses. Today, I think you might recognise this young man, City fans. It's the one and only Terry Dolan. How are you doing, Terry?
I'm good, thank you.
So first of all, thanks for coming down. And how are you in general? How's life at the moment?
Life's pretty good, to be fair. I'm spending most of my time trying to play golf.
Yep.
I'm not getting much better, but as you get older, I think you can't hit the ball.
The same, I play myself, but I can't hit it. But
but no, I spend most of my time doing that now. Retired from everything else to do.
Brilliant, that's fantastic. So we'll crack on with this. So as a chairman and employer, how respectful, as a chairman and employer, how respectful did you find Jack Tardo towards yourself, the staff, and your staff especially at the end of your tenure, the end of your career? So did you get on with him well, or?
Yeah, I got on with him fine. I mean, when I came to the club, excuse me, Stafford Higginbotham was the chairman,
Yep.
and Jack was the vice chairman. And then Stafford obviously was poorly, had to call it a day, and Jack took over. But up until the end of it, when I was told I was no longer needed, Jack had been fine. I think in today's world, he would probably find it a little bit different, but Jack was like that.
Right, that's absolutely fantastic. And how did he cope with the sort of disappointment of the squad not being strengthened when it had been promised? To the subsequent loss of McCall and Hendry.
Well, it was a little bit hard to take. If you think about it, we didn't have the biggest squad in the world at that time. John and Stuart were the two main, well, when I say main players, most or players that we could get most money for. And they were desperate for us to get promoted. And when we didn't get promoted, when we lost in the playoffs, we knew that we were going to lose them both anyway. The annoying thing at the time was, as I say, because we had a small squad, we tried to sign Keith Curle and Andy Townsend, and Jack just thought that we didn't need to sign them. He thought our squad was good enough.
Yeah.
But if you think about it, John Hendry got suspended against Man City, or when he got sent off against Man City. So we lost him for the the last game against Ipswich, and that was the game that changed everything.
Yep. So if you could have brought one more player in, anyone you could, to just give us that to get us promotion, who would that player have been and why?
Well, Andy Townsend was one of the ones that we really wanted because we just needed that bit more creativity in midfield, in my opinion.
Yep.
But Jack, he just had it in his mind that we didn't need to spend that money. The annoying thing from my point of view, we could have got both players for a total of £600,000. And we knew that if Stuart went, we were going to get that money back. And if John went, we'd get even more. So from a business point of view, it was a no-brainer. But Jack stuck to his guns and, he ran the club, so I had to do what he told me to do.
Yep, and then are you still involved in football now? And if so, in what sort of, any kind of roles?
No, up until about 12 months ago, I was working for the League Managers Association, assessing referees. But COVID put an end to all that because we couldn't go to the games anymore. And then after COVID, VAR has made a big difference to things. I'm sorry, but I'm dead against VAR.
Yeah, that's no problem. And who would you say was your most challenging player at Bradford City? He had the potential, he had the skills, but he was perhaps lacked confidence and you had to motivate him to find his best form. Was there anyone in particular that stood out? Or?
No, I don't think there was anybody in particular.
Okay, then.
We had a decent squad and they all got on well with each other.
Oh, that's absolutely fantastic. Talking of this, how did he motivate players in general? How did he get them motivated? If they started bad and that they could get better, what would your encouragement be for them to improve in the game or improve the next game? Or
Well, I think as a manager, bearing in mind it was my first job as a manager, So, you know, I was inexperienced to a certain degree. But all along in my time as a manager, I just tried to treat players how I would have been wanted to be treated myself when I was a player.
Yep.
And in general terms, I think we got away with it pretty well. Also, I had Stan Turnant as my assistant. I had Maurice Lindley as my chief scout. Both very experienced players. Brian Edwards, who was the physio. So I had good people around me as well.
Yeah, and do you wish you could have had a second stint as Bradford manager to finish off, unfortunately, what we didn't manage to quite achieve? If you could have had a second stint, would you have done it?
I would have done, and I nearly had the opportunity when
fantastic.
When Jeffrey Richmond was chairman. When Frank Stapleton left, I was interviewed for the job again.
Oh, brilliant.
And Jeffrey Richmond said to me, Terry, the next manager of Bradford City will live in Bradford, because Frank Stapleton lived over in Cheshire and travelled each day. And now my eldest daughter was doing her A-levels at the time, and I was living obviously in Hull, because I was still managing Hull. And I said to Jeffrey, I said, listen, I'll willingly come back to Bradford, but my daughter needs to finish her A-levels first before that happens. He said, don't worry about that. Anyway, 3 or 4 days later, Lenny Lawrence was appointed as the manager, who lived in Yarm in Middlesbrough, and he continued to live in Yarm. So I think Jeffrey told me a little bit of a white lie there.
I should have done that. So, as a player, which was your most memorable goal and why? Which your most standout moment, best goal, or sort of, maybe not the best, but the one you remember the most?
Well, the one I'll probably remember most was in the FA Cup when I played at Huddersfield Town and we played West Ham in the 5th round. We beat them 4-2 and I scored one of the goals. So if you think the West Ham team at that time included Bobby Moore, Jeff Hurst and Martin Peters.
Well, that's absolutely fantastic. So
3 weeks before that, would you believe,
wow.
I played at Old Trafford when we played Manchester United.
Brilliant.
And in the Man United team that day was Bestlow and Charlton.
Oh.
So to play against 6 players like that in the space of 3 weeks was incredible.
Oh, that's brilliant. So as a growing child, who would you say your idol was when you were a kid and you wanted to perhaps emulate, or what made you want to be a footballer and get into the profession that you have done?
It was Dennis Law.
Was that?
Yeah.
That's brilliant. So obviously, before we start have a bit of fun, is there any upcoming charity work that you'd like to pronounce yourself, or anybody you'd like to thank, or perhaps a few words of encouragement for the City fans for the good start to the season?
Well, I mean, there are so many charities going around these days, but a lot of the present interest is to do with dementia.
Yep.
And, you know, it's something in our day when our parents were elderly. You didn't think about anything like that. You just thought, well, you're getting old and you forget things, etc. But I think that's an important charity. And closer to home, family, friends have been involved in the cancer charities. So anything to do with cancer research, I think. You know,
that's brilliant. So did you ever used to watch sort of Soccer Aim when it used to be on a few years ago? It was Helen Chamberlain and all that. Basically, I'm just going to ask you a few quick fire questions and give us your best shot. So this is getting to know Terry Dolan. So obviously, what's your full name?
Terence Peter Dolan.
Have you got a nickname?
I think most of it when I was playing was Dolly.
Yep. Without getting a clip off you, can you tell people how old are you?
I'm 75.
Yep. For those City fans perhaps don't know, can you remind us tell them what position you played in?
I was a midfield player.
Yep. And where are you from originally, please?
Bradford originally.
If you were a footballer, what do you think you would be?
Well, the one thing, when I was 16, Bradford City were going to take me on as an apprentice.
Yep.
Willie Watson was the manager, and then he got sacked in the summer, and Jimmy Wheeler came, and Jimmy Wheeler didn't want me. So I had to think quickly about what to do.
Yeah, we might have already touched on this, but your favourite footballing moment, anytime you didn't have to be City, you go for what you want. Your favourite footballing moment ever?
Ooh, probably England winning the World Cup in 1966.
Your best friend in football?
Oh, I've got two. Well, I'm saying best friends. I wouldn't pick one in particular. I've got a lot of friends.
Yep. So the best player you've played with?
Best player played with?
Yep.
Ooh. Let me think. Well, it would be one of the lads at Huddersfield because we played in the top division then, so probably Frank Worthington.
And what about the best player played against?
George Best.
Messi or Ronaldo?
Messi.
There you go, man. Your favourite curry?
Favourite curry would be chicken madras.
Yeah, I like that. I'll go for a vindaloo myself. Your
Vindaloo's
signature
a bit
dish,
too
can you
hot.
cook? Can you cook yourself? What's your best cook?
I can do it now and again. My favourite is beef stroganoff.
Beef stroganoff. Oh yeah, it's all right. That. And if you were out with the lads and you were a bit of a karaoke, what would your song be?
Quite a few. In my time, I've shown myself up by trying to think that I can sing, but I would probably say Delilah.
Delilah, are you interested in giving us a quick short version? No, that's fine, buddy.
No.
So I want to thank you, obviously, for coming down to Valley Parade. I want to thank the club for letting us out here. And one last question. With the good start to the season, obviously there's a long way to go yet, anything can happen. How do you think the club can perhaps stay up or maybe even push for the playoffs this season?
I think they'll definitely stay up. And they've had a great start, and they're in the next round of the League Cup as well. So things are going well at the moment. I'm pleased in a way because I like the way that the manager is running things at the moment. You know, he's been playing with 3 centre backs, and when I first took over here back in 1987, I changed the system to centre backs, and I did that all my managerial career. So I like the way that he's managing things from that point of view. I'd just like to see another striker. I know Cook at the moment, I don't know how long he's going to be out for.
Well, he's back in training now. I don't think he's that far away now, but obviously we don't want to rush him too much.
I prefer to see, even if Cook was playing, I prefer to see another out-and-out striker playing alongside him, not with the one down the middle and 2 wide.
Yeah, you're probably right there.
Well, that's only my opinion.
No, that's absolutely fine. So, obviously, thanks for coming, and we'll go into town if you've got time. I'll get you a quick beer, buddy. So, thank you very much.
Okay.
Cheers, buddy.
You're welcome.